What up,
Mm-mm.
what up, what up? You already know what time it is. The boy Matt is the host with the most lemonade to bring no more. So we ever did was gonna toast to the real folks who done paved the way in a real way for us plays to play. And parlay this great game for y'all that we got for y'all today. And I got my right hand with me as usual. WI in the building.
Yeah. Yep. What up, though?
Y'all give it a round of applause to the real one. Keep it real, so I don't feel nothing I'm talking about. Yeah, man, it's another episode of Late Night Mac Talk. What's happening, player?
Gotta give him that game. Give him the game and a different perspective.
Yeah, man, that's what we're here for. Um, so I wanted to break down this whole situation at hand that's going on out here. Trump Epstein files. Do you know that they put out the Epstein files on Trump?
Yep.
They put that,
Yep. Of course.
and I'm trying to figure out how are they putting something like that out, but the elected demands. So the FBI had this information for how long? And the public still elected the man? Ain't that some crazy shit?
I'm telling you, man. It's what it is, man. This is the state of the union right now. You know, it's a sad state, but it's a reality that the people have to deal with. So, like, it's crazy. It's crazy work still. It's crazy, man.
Before we get into nitty gritty, I like to introduce y'all to a song that we did back in the day, and we still holding it down. This is the where we do moving in silence by
Yeah,
Philly
Bobo, yeah,
Live.
let's get it. We move in silence, and every day I move with tyrants that be ready for violence. And every time I hear them sirens, open up your eyelids so you can see where I live. We move in silence, and every day I move with tyrants that be ready for violence. And every time I hear them sirens, open up your eyelids so you can see where I live. I woke up in the morning with the grind on my mind. Numbers keep calling, that's time on the line. The sun comes and goes, every set is another chance to snap back when you get stretched like a rubber band. Yeah, you gotta be fitted for the top spot. That's hopscotch while chilling on a hot block. Where cops watch, I will not stop. Count my knots pop, you dig me? Need a 4-bag of chips like Miss Vicky. I've been busy, trying to get spiffy. Now I switch sticky, or getting tipsy off a quick Mickey. After a split hit me, niggas try to get with me. We move in silence, and every day I move with tyrants that be ready for violence. And every time I hear them sirens, open up your eyelids so you can see where I live. We move in silence, and every day I move with tyrants that be ready for violence. And every time I hear them sirens, open up your eyelids so you can see where I live. Put the pen to the pad. I rep for my niggas from the pad to the pen. Stay on the grind so we at it again. See, me and my niggas never had to pretend. Catch a left hook for a jab to the chin. Parties all over before I had to begin. Every punchline hit sharper than lead. Something like a hollow point straight to the head. Niggas get hit and run straight to the feds. My niggas get rich and run straight to the bread. So if a nigga tell, I'ma still make bail. Making that sale or waiting on mail. Live on any block, yeah, my niggas do it well. So only time to tell if y'all niggas do it well. I ain't got time to talk and all y'all niggas do is tell. Well, fuck jail, trying to make a meal off bars though. Even though they try to label me like a barcode. And every day I move with tyrants that be ready for violence. And every time I hear them sirens, open up your eyelids so you can see where I live. We move in silence, and every day I move with tyrants that be ready for violence. And every time I hear them sirens, open up your eyelids so you can see where I live. I work hard for everything that I got. Hustle Hustle game strong, that's courtesy of the block. I fell off a few times, but I never stopped. Everything looks good and I'm waiting to drop. I got a crew of heads that stays on the shoulders, and they ready to go anytime like soldiers. Where days get hotter and nights get colder, the pain stays longer and your life gets shorter.
Stay on the hush cause we cool in the clutch. This is for my young niggas kicking up dust.
What up,
Just
homie?
make sure you run with a crew you can trust on something like a band-aid, the way I'm glued to the cut. Stick your tools is a must, there's
Bam.
no room to discuss. Just a whole lot of wounds leaving dudes to discuss. Strong move quiet, the weak go deny it, but they know they can't try it cause I'm a modern day tyrant.
We move in silence, and every day I move with tyrants that be ready for violence. And every time I hear them sirens, open up your eyelids so you can see where I live. We move in silence, and every day I move with tyrants that be ready for violence. And every time I hear them sirens, open up your eyelids so you can see where I live. Yeah. Black mode in your area. Let's get it. We move in silence, and every day I move with tyrants that be ready for violence. And every time I hear them sirens, open up your eyelids so you can see where I live. We move in silence, and every day I move with tyrants that be ready for violence. And every time I hear them sirens, open up your eyelids so you can see where I live. I woke up in the morning with the grind on my mind. Numbers keep calling, that's time on the line. The sun comes and goes, every set is another chance to snap back when you get stretched like a rubber band. Yeah, you gotta be fitted for the top spot. That's hopscotch while chilling on a hot block. Where cops watch, I will not stop. Time my knots pop, you dig me? Need a 4 bag of chips like Miss Vicky. I've been busy, trying to get spiffy. Now I switch sticky, or getting tipsy off a quick Mickey. After a split hit me, niggas try to get with me. We move in silence, and every day I move with tyrants that be ready for violence. And every time I hear them sirens, open up your eyelids so you can see where I live. We move in silence, and every day I move with tyrants that be ready for violence. And every time I hear them sirens, open up your eyelids so you can see where I live.
Put the pen to
What
the
happened?
pad.
Everything blessed?
I rep from my niggas from the pad to the pen. Stay on the grind so we at it again. See me and my niggas never had to pretend. Catch a left hook or a jab to the chin. Parties all over before I had to begin. Every punchline hit sharper than lead. Something like a hollow point straight to the head. Niggas get hit and run straight to the feds. My niggas get rich and run straight to the bread. So if a nigga tell, I'ma still make bail. Making that sale or waiting on mail. Live on any block, yeah, my niggas do it well.
Are we back? Are we back at it? Are we back
Yeah.
at it?
Yeah.
You see, every time. But now, I'm talking about a serious topic. They're just trying to shut me down all the way.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even access YouTube. You can hear me?
Yeah.
So how come you can hear me?
But you can't go on YouTube?
No. Try this one for size. So they have the Epstein files. Trump is on it. And to my surprise, I'm asking myself, if they knew that Trump was on these files, how could they even let him participate in the election?
In the presidency.
Yeah, you know.
Well, that's how you know the man has access to certain things, right? He has friends in high places. But now that they're forcing him to what do you call it? He has to like sign papers or whatever to so people could actually see the Epstein files and whatever. You know he's gonna try and throw something in left field to make everybody like try to distract everybody. So it's it's everything's coming to what's done in the dark will eventually come into the light, so to speak.
Yeah. Just gotta wait and see what's coming. Very, very
I think everybody knows what's gonna happen.
It is common to be reminded of basic, obvious, and until recently non-controversial demand because it's so utterly foundational. But when 6 Democratic lawmakers, all veterans of the military and intelligence agencies, issued this general reminder the other day, Trump accused them of sedition and suggested that they be executed. Now, maybe if he had been having a, or maybe not. I'll talk about the president's behavior tonight with my panel. Caldwell is the chief Washington correspondent for Puck News. Jonathan Karl is the chief Washington correspondent for ABC News and the author of Retribution, Donald Trump and the Campaign That Changed America. And Tolu Olorunipa is a staff writer at The Atlantic. Thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. John, you've been the target of Trump's anger before.
A couple times.
So have I. It's a pretty big club,
Yeah,
actually. It's not really exclusive. But this week felt a little bit different somehow, more intense. The anger was more sustained.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing this for a long time. Obviously, he called the press the enemy of the people, but it did feel more intense. The way he went after Catherine Lucy of Bloomberg on Air Force One, calling her piggy. And then the display with my colleague, Mary Bruce, in the Oval Office was over the top.
Both great reporters, by the way.
Both excellent reporters.
Our official position at Washington Week is both great reporters.
No, I mean, they truly are both great reporters, and they both didn't take the bait. I mean, they didn't like engage with him on this, and
they were incredibly professional.
They were very professional and respectful in their questions, and also ignoring the personal taunts, which it's not easy. You're in the Oval Office, and the president is calling you a terrible person,
and you know that everybody's seeing this.
Yes,
also,
and it's all playing out, and he's sitting next to a guy that allegedly, executed or ordered the execution.
Possibly bone-sawed
I mean,
a journalist.
But Mary was completely steady, and then came back with a question later on about the Epstein files that really needed to be asked. These were all like the questions you knew needed to be asked, and Trump went off. What I took from it is, my sense is that he's rattled. I think he was rattled by something we haven't seen this term, and we really didn't see to this degree in his first term, the defeat he faced at the hands of Republicans in Congress, Republicans who have been entirely supplicant to him, suddenly standing up and going in a different direction on the release of the Epstein files. And I think he was frankly rattled, and that was part of what was going on.
Right. Tolu, the backdrop here is very important. There's been a bunch of stuff that hasn't gone his way about the Virginia, New Jersey elections, for starters. Give us a sense of where he is in popularity, and it just seems like the wind is not at his back.
Yeah, November is a really tough month for Trump. We're thinking about a year ago, he was at the peak of his political power, returning to office, winning this landslide election in his mind in terms of having the biggest comeback in political history and all the great things that people were talking about when he beat Kamala Harris to return to the White House. And his first 10 months in office were pretty much signs that there was very little that can be done to stop him. He was steamrolling through his opponents. He was pushing forward executive orders. But then we had the elections in the first part of this month, and he was defeated very soundly in New Jersey, in Virginia, and across the political map. Republicans lost significantly because of what Trump is doing. It was pretty clear that the country sent a message to him. And he also lost in the Supreme Court in terms of how his tariff policy is being viewed. We haven't seen the final ruling on that, but it was pretty clear that the Supreme Court justices were not in favor of what he's doing on tariffs. And he had to move away from his tariff policy by removing some tariffs because people are worried about affordability and the economy, and he's not winning on that issue as he has in the past. And so he's really focused on all of the areas where he's starting to lose ground. And most importantly, he's realizing that he is going to be a lame duck very soon, and people within his own party are starting to look past him. And that's his biggest reason why he's concerned.
And Peter, Epstein. There's
Go.
Epstein, Go.
Yeah.
The thing he can't shake.
The thing he can't shake. The House of Representatives literally went out of session. Leanne Osberg and I did for probably a record amount of time, certainly in modern times, 6 to 8 weeks, because they didn't want to have to deal with this question, and he got his hat handed to him, so much so he had to get in front of the train and give permission to all the Republicans to vote for it so they wouldn't be crosswise with the MAGA base. Huge setback in the sense of momentum, in the sense of changing the conversation. He does not want to be talking about this. We don't know what's in these files, obviously, and we'll see whether they actually get released. They did include a clause in the bill, which we should remember, saying they'll be released unless they get in the way of an ongoing investigation. Well, there wasn't an ongoing investigation until, wait a second, a few days ago when the president ordered Pam Bondi to make a new investigation into Democrats. And so we'll see whether they actually follow through on releasing everything or try to redact some things. And we don't know what's in them. But if there was a prosecutable crime in there against Donald Trump, it seems likely to think that the Merrick Garland Justice Department would have already pursued that. So what we're talking about is probably something embarrassing.
That wasn't the most aggressive Justice Department in the history of
They
Justice
did indict him a couple times.
True.
And that, which hadn't happened before with any other president. So, I mean, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but if there's something in there, I don't think Pam Bondi is going to be prosecuting him.
Right. Leanne, the files, everybody's talking about the files. No one knows what's in the files. Do you think we're ever going to have a complete understanding or something close to a complete understanding of the depth of Epstein's connections to Trump?
We'll see. I don't know. I mean, Peter laid out a way that Donald Trump can prevent the release.
Does that sound realistic to you? Like that's a move that they would make?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's something, Donald Trump does not want these files out.
Wait, can I just ask, do we think that Donald Trump even knows what's in the files at all? Or is it just he can't remember what he might have done or not done? No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like what does he know?
It feels like he's protecting someone or something. Not that there's necessarily, maybe he's protecting himself. I don't know if there's a crime. It doesn't, like you said, it doesn't seem like there is, but there's someone that, or something that he seems to be protecting that he doesn't want out there. But I think that with the files, Donald Trump has lost a tremendous amount of trust on this issue, regardless of if these files are released. The way that this has been progressing, people think that it has been covered up over and over and over again, and Donald Trump is now complicit in the cover-up. And so even if all these files are released, it's going to be very hard for some people to believe that that is all that there is.
John, you had a thought.
Well, and look, first of all, DOJ is going to control this process.
Department of Justice.
Department of Justice will control the release of the files. So keep that in mind. This is the Department of Justice that has basically been functioning as Trump's law firm. I mean,
it has no independence anymore in the way that we think of the Justice Department.
But I don't know if Trump knows what's in the files, and I've heard no indication that there's something in there that's going to incriminate him more than what's already come out. I mean, we know that he had a longtime friendship with Epstein. We know that they had a falling out. We've seen all the video of them together. I mean, who knows what more could be there, but I have no indication there's any blockbuster there. But we do know this. When Pam Bondi promised that she was going to release everything, and she brought in, you remember, she said, I'm bringing in 1,000 FBI agents to review everything and to get everything ready for release. We know that when she briefed Trump about what they had, that they told him that his name comes up repeatedly in the files. I mean, Elon Musk, I guess, told us that a while ago. It's not a surprise. We know that he's been on the plane. The flight logs have been out there before Epstein's plane. We know that he was in Epstein's address book. That had already been out there. So I don't know that there was anything new, but he was told by DOJ, by the Justice Department, that his name was going to appear in these files. And that's when he pulled the plug and said, no, we're not going to release them.
Right. Leanne, let's go to this issue of the relationship between Trump and the press. It's not hard to notice that while he can express contempt and anger toward male reporters, he seems to be bothered especially by female reporters. Here, watch just a couple of moments of this with me.
Quiet. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter.
What is going on here, do you think, with him? Is it just pure misogyny where he has a double standard, that he believes that that reporters should not behave in a subordinate way?
Yeah, I mean, the word insubordinate just speaks so broadly about how he thinks. So
well, go into that a little bit. What do you mean?
Well, Donald Trump wants reporters in the press to praise him and to give him good coverage and do what he wants. And that's why you see in a lot of the scrums in the Oval Office, a lot more and more of the reporters are friendly reporters from conservative outlets, not reporters who have, are not from those outlets. But I will say on the female thing, women reporters notice this. It is a topic of conversation among me and my friends constantly about how he treats female reporters. I will say, if you speak to someone like Kellyanne Conway, who says Donald Trump is great to women, look, she was the first female campaign manager, first female chief of staff, that there's high-level women all around him. But those are women who are not challenging him. Those are women who are there to support him. And reporters are there to challenge the president. And that's what he doesn't like.
It's this insubordinate, subordinate spectrum. Yeah. Tolu, you're a former White House bureau chief for the Washington Post.
Be among the other chiefs.
A lot of chiefs. Yeah. It's all chiefs. It's all chiefs. Is it that unusual for a president to get upset with insubordinate reporters? What's unusual about this for people who don't understand the ins and outs of our profession?
Well, the president has always sort of taken these attacks against the press as part of what he thinks is a shtick. And John, you wrote a book called The Front Row at the Trump Show. The president sees this in a way as a show. He sees the reporters as his foils. And a lot of times after he attacks reporters, he'll bring them up and, act really nicely to them and sort of try to play host with them when the cameras are off, because he does see this as a show. So some of this is a little bit of a give and take, but what is a little bit different about what we're seeing this week is the president seems to have real animosity behind some of these attacks. And he's, having some of these really direct attacks that are steeped in misogyny and also seem really personal, in part because of all of the things that he's going through and what we've experienced in terms of how tough this month has been for him, how he's up against the ropes politically. And instead of it being a show and a give and take, he really seems rattled and he really seems to be lashing out.
And here's the consequence, if I can add, here's the consequence of the White House taking over control of the White House press pool, which no other president, Republican or Democrat, had ever done. They now control who is in that room. And what that means is that there are fewer mainstream journalism outlets, or whatever phrase we want to use, and a lot more of these outlets that are frankly propaganda or politically, ideologically in favor.
What are the names, just so people at home
Well,
know
I mean,
what we're talking
obviously
about?
Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend is in there, and I remember the scene the other day.
That's the name of the network. Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend.
I'll let the networks speak for themselves.
Michael Lindell's network, the
Mike Lindell, the pillow guy. Has
So the other day, not that long ago, the president says in this exchange with one of them is like, well, you know, I won the election in 2020. Yes, sir, you did. And then he says, aha, media. Meaning, see, the media in his presentation of this has just somehow validated him, because he's blurred the line between actual reporters and people who are propagandists or supporters.
Right.
I mean, Sean Spicer was in the press poll a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Congratulations to Sean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the public, of course, doesn't see a difference and doesn't understand. And the fewer and fewer actual reporters in there challenging him, like Mary Bruce, the more and more he gets angry about that.
By the way, the Pentagon now has completely removed what we would think of mainstream, from Fox to ABC to everybody.
To Newsmax. I mean,
to Newsmax, and has I don't know what you would call them, a captive press or some of these types of outlets. Is the White House moving in that direction itself?
Well, the White House communications office actually wasn't thrilled with how the Pentagon played out.
There you have it. They say the president is rattled.
Yeah. So basically, he can't hide from himself anymore. People are finally starting to see all the nonsense and like not only see it, but like believe it, you know, because enough times they'll see it, but they won't believe it, or they'll be in denial or whatever. And like it's been so much. And the fact that the whole Epstein thing and that was mine. Yeah. And the fact that all of that is being exposed, you know, he's trying to, like, his real personality is showing more and more, and people are, you know, they're not. It's hard. Like, he can't hide from himself. You know what I'm saying? He can't. There's no covering up all the nonsense that's been going on for so long. People are like, they're tired of it. Naturally, they're supposed to have been tired of it from the first, but you know.
Yeah. Trump. Here's a spin that they want to put on it. They want to act like the whole time he was undercover working for the FBI. And I'm trying to figure out how they're going to do that. Watch this.
As literary as Jeffrey Epstein knows that was a.
I don't like that comparison.
One of the many things you have in common.
I'm just saying I'm more literate than Jeffrey Epstein.
You're as handsome as Jeffrey Dahmer.
Also live in New York.
Yeah, a lot of things. Interesting. Anyways.
Yeah, I can't hear that.
But it's from a famous Sherlock story where a dog did not set off the alarm because they knew
I think you disrupted
and the idea here is
the algorithm with the FBI talks. As soon as they heard FBI, they're like, oh, we gotta shut it down. Shut it down. Talking about the FBI, shut it down. That's what it is.
So you couldn't hear it at all?
Nah,
You couldn't hear it at all?
at all.
You see, the only reason why they're doing that.
Well, you said FBI.
I'm on to something. That's the only reason.
Yo, there's certain words that if you mention it during the discussion, it's gonna disrupt all of that.
Yeah, but it's in the title. The video I'm putting on, so I don't see how it would disrupt it.
Okay, there it is. I heard something.
Okay, let's try this again. Share screen. YouTube.
I know that, guys. I'd be reporting on me. Here is the Epstein biographer.
You hear it?
On that 2011 email, we'll put it up on the screen. Ask you, the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. What do you think he's referring to?
Well, I think Jeffrey Epstein is referring to the fact that he believes that Donald Trump talked to Michael Ryder, who was the Palm Beach police chief in 2004, and began the first investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. I suspect that Jeffrey Epstein, in his conversation or email with Maxwell, was saying he was 75% there, believing that Trump might have been the whistleblower at the time. Again, you have to remember that particular year, the two men had a falling out, not only over the fact that Ghislaine Maxwell was taking young women from his spa at Mar-a-Lago for Jeffrey Epstein, but they also had a nasty real estate deal that both men were trying to get. So there was bad blood between the two of them.
Okay, so it's a combination then of the Trump being the dog who didn't bark and that additional line on that email. We'll put it back on the screen. Police chief, et cetera, I'm 75% there, meaning he's 75% there to believing that Trump is an informant against him?
That is what I believe based on my research of years of the Jeffrey Epstein story.
Okay, but
you also have to
Barry,
remember that the House Speaker at one point,
Barry, if Donald Trump were an informant, if Donald Trump dropped the dime on Jeffrey Epstein, why wouldn't he today in this climate be shouting it from the mountaintops? I'm the one who put him away.
That's a question that only the president can answer. And again, the Palm Beach police have never said that Donald Trump was an informant. However, not too long ago, the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, said that Donald Trump was an informant on this particular case. So it is rather confusing.
Well, I mean, so I saw Julie Brown, who was like the Miami Herald reporter who's most across this, saying that, you know, she doesn't believe that Trump would have been the informant to tip off the police. They were tipped off by a parent, which I think like that's can also be true. And also there could have been this pre-existing relationship that Trump had with the government as an informant in other contexts that Epstein could have been aware of. And he could have.
Deal. Yeah. You know what's also weird to me is just like
on that 2011 email.
The weird thing to me too is why would Epstein want a piece of real estate so much that he would alienate himself from Trump? Like, if this guy is like, he's got all the money in the world, he seems to have access to everything. Why would you alienate yourself from anybody in that instance, right? I mean, I guess like over, you know, a material thing like that. I don't know. I mean, which is not to say like, I think it's
They're rich
impossible.
psychos, yeah.
It's impossible to sort of like get into the mindset.
But remember what Mike Johnson said like 4 or 5 weeks ago?
Yeah, he said he was an FBI.
Sorry, yeah. If you said
That's
that,
what Smirkanish was referencing.
Okay,
That's
gotcha.
what the guy was referencing.
Yes, okay.
And so who knows? I mean, who knows? It's also possible that Trump squealed on him when they came to him. Like, do you know anything? Yes. I mean, who knows?
Did you ever see the movie The Anderson Tapes?
No.
Okay. Well, it's a 1971 movie, Sidney Lumet, but basically there's this heist that happens, and it turns out that the place that they have a heist, there's a whole bunch of surveillance equipment in the basement of it for like 3 different investigations, and they can't prosecute the heist people because it would expose all of the recording they're doing.
I will tell you something.
Of people in the building.
I think that is the story with many, many conspiracies. So, for instance, like the Benghazi stuff, I think there was, and this is complete speculation on my part, but I think that annex in Benghazi was in fact like shipping armaments to Syria. You can't, but it could have been anything. That's top secret. So the Republicans know that the real answer can't come out. So they can never be proved wrong in any type of theory that's associated with it. I am quite convinced that there is stuff coming out of the New York FBI office in the summer of 2016. The stories about the mutiny and Comey's, and like I'm convinced that much of the whole Mueller investigation had to stay away from a big quadrant of stuff, and therefore if there is an answer, and you can't say that answer, then you start to backfill with all sorts of other
Warren
things.
Commission.
Yes. I mean, I think like if there is an answer that you cannot, and it may not be even that nefarious per se, but it just can't be said for whatever reason. Then all of a sudden, like if it can't be that answer, then you have to sort of fit a round peg into a square hole.
Although in terms of like, it may not be that nefarious, I do think that like we are reaching a point where we're reckoning a bit with like what our intelligence apparatus turned into in the back half of the 20th century, and then like was put on steroids with the war on terror. And it might be very nefarious in many of these instances too. Like, I just can't rule that out, given the fact that, what we see with this Epstein stuff indicates a network of influence that we are still scratching the surface of.
Yeah. But I think like, honestly, it's above intelligence agencies. I really do think like, as Murtaza said, it seems more like the Mossad is working for him than he's working for the Mossad.
But if you see how the OSS and our, intelligence agencies and their connections with Sullivan and Cromwell and money and capital, capital was running the day back at the outset of the CIA. It's very similar if they're doing the same thing with Mossad.
Well, and they still have like certain cowboys that are empowered above and beyond even typical like CIA or asset that are allowed to do like insane things that, get like a hunt throughout the entirety of like Watergate and all that stuff. Like they're psychos.
And as the importance of oil in the Middle East and drilling there, and as those kind of Western oil tycoons grew in prominence in U.S. politics, and Israel and our intelligence outposts there became increasingly more prominent, like that timeline makes total sense as well in terms of where money was growing, and then where eventually it became ossified and so significant that it had this like international sway with our politics.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.
Hey, everybody, Dr. G here. I'm a clinical and forensic psychologist, as well as a body language expert. But today, we're not going to be analyzing body language. Today, we're going to be doing a forensic analysis of the 20,000 plus emails and text messages from the Epstein files. Before we get started with this, a couple of quick things. One, I wanted to make sure you know this is not a psychological evaluation of any kind. These are just my opinions. In addition to that, I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, let's go. In the forensic cases I've worked on, it's not unusual at all that I'm given stacks of emails, text messages, Facebook posts, you name it. If it's something that the person wrote, I ultimately have to analyze it and build a profile. Now, what I did in this situation is I went through and read all of the relevant documents, emails, text messages, articles, everything that was provided by the Oversight Committee. First, I want to talk about the relationship of Jeffrey Epstein and President Trump. So after reading through all of these, I got a very good idea of the type of people that Jeffrey Epstein respects, likes, and wants to surround himself with. He likes scientists, professors, journalists. That seems to be the people that he really wants to connect with and the people that he values. Now, when we talk about somebody like President Trump, he does not fall into those categories. He's not an academic. He's not a scientist. He is not somebody that Jeffrey Epstein seems to value. Now, his emails about Donald Trump fall in one of two categories. On the one hand, he wants to know everything about President Trump. He wants to know where he's traveling to. He wants to know what's going on with him politically. He's constantly being sent emails and articles that have been written about Trump, and he's sending other people articles that have been written about Trump. So there's just a lot of interest about what's going on in Trump's life. On the other hand, when he talks about him personally, he describes somebody he doesn't like. He basically says that Trump is borderline insane. He describes him as someone who doesn't have a decent cell in his body. He basically doesn't see him as someone that he values. I think that Jeffrey Epstein sees himself as smarter than Donald Trump. That seems to be the way that he describes him. He makes fun of Trump being a genius in one email. So what I gather is that Jeffrey Epstein did not like Donald Trump. Now, at one point they were friends. I think they've both acknowledged that at one point in their lives they were friends. But during this period, it seems like there's nothing but disdain. Not only did Jeffrey Epstein dislike Donald Trump, he actually tried to cause harm. He tried to help during a congressional hearing when they were interviewing Michael Cohen. He was texting with, you may have already heard about this, he was texting with a congresswoman trying to help her and trying to prompt her on the questions to ask. So Jeffrey Epstein very actively was trying to harm Donald Trump during this time. Now, the way he talks about former President Bill Clinton is totally different. I think that there was a real kinship there, and I think they remained friends for a long time. There's evidence to suggest that we're going to get into when we get into the actual emails. Now, despite that fondness, in 2016, it seems like there was something that Bill Clinton said that made Jeffrey Epstein feel like he couldn't trust him. And it is characterized that Bill Clinton is very manipulative. That's how he sees him. He's someone he likes. He's someone he wants to spend time with, but he also describes him as extremely manipulative. And in terms of what I learned about Jeffrey Epstein himself, in terms of what he's like, in terms of how he communicates, he is someone that absolutely loves to have leverage and power over people. This goes exactly with what we already know about him, which is he's someone that wants to be in control. That shows in his emails. What's interesting about the way that he emails is that he uses sentence fragments. He doesn't actually form whole thoughts almost ever. Occasionally he will actually use proper grammar, but it's full of spelling errors, half thoughts. He's usually telling people what to do, trying to organize what somebody can say as a response to different situations, like the Virginia Giuffre situation. He's trying to tell people what to say in those situations. And before we get into the actual emails, there is one thing I want to cover about how he communicates. He is fully aware that people might read these emails. He had already been convicted back in 2008. He's very careful about what he says. And some things are said intentionally that he knows are not true, possibly knowing that at some point people are going to review these things. He is fully aware. And I know he's aware because he says, this is for phone only, or call me about this. Don't put this in an email. He makes specific references to that. So he sees email as an unsafe, unsecure communication, whereas phone, I guess he assumed his phone calls were not being listened to at that point. I presume they weren't because I haven't heard anything about that. But he seemed to think talking by phone was a safe way to communicate. Sitting through email was absolutely not. So keep that in mind as you read this. Don't take what he says literally too often. Do not take everything he says at face value, because he's only putting information out there that he thinks other people could read and that wouldn't get him into trouble. Now that we've talked about Trump, Clinton, and Epstein, let's talk about the actual content of the emails. Let's look at the most consequential emails, and we'll talk about what those mean. Now, the first email we're going to look at is about former President Bill Clinton. A couple of things I want you to keep in mind as we go through all of these. The formatting can be a little bit weird. It was originally sent over and released in just a wall of text. It looked terrible. It was impossible to read. I've got it reorganized, and so some of them are going to look like this. Some will look like raw emails, but just understand these were formatted so they would be easier to look at. So this email exchange is between Jeffrey Epstein and Kathy Rumler. If you're not familiar with her, I believe she was the White House counsel during Barack Obama's presidency. The first email from Jeffrey Epstein says, talking to MacGyver disturbs me, and that takes a lot. It's at the bottom, by the way, if you're keeping track of this. Now, what he's saying is he's talking to Bill Clinton. That's MacGyver. MacGyver was someone that could get out of any situation. It's very clear in a second that that's who they're talking about. But I assume they refer to him as MacGyver because he's able to come up with things on the fly, which also suggests that he's manipulative. And we're going to get much more into that as this continues to go on. But he's saying, talking to Bill Clinton right now, what he's saying is disturbing, and that takes a lot. That is probably one of the most significant things to have come out in all of these emails. That really blows my mind. But let's keep going, and we're going to talk more about it. Kathy Rumley replies, what part do you find disturbing? Do you think he's losing it? So I suppose just because he's getting older, maybe they're implying that it's some sort of age-related issue. Jeffrey Epstein says, you were right and I was wrong. Humble pie, crow, or my own words is what I get to eat today. Your choice. Kathy Rumler replies, meaning I win the bet that I will never receive an apology or acknowledgement of the acceptance of responsibility. Jeffrey Epstein says, I could never, ever verify its authenticity. So, yes. Kathy Rumler replies, I will just say I told you so. Not to sound overly dramatic, but he's very close to being a psychopath. He has no conscience. It's scary. Now, that is a profound statement to be making about somebody that they both apparently know. Now, Jeffrey Epstein replies, I was wrong. Kathy Rumler replies, he obviously said something to you yesterday that was disturbing and you don't want to tell me. Just tell me. I can take it. I promise. Jeffrey Epstein replies, my memory is a friend killer. I stopped talking to Clinton when he swore, with wholehearted conviction to me, that he had done something. He had forgotten that he also swore the exact opposite to me only weeks before. So he's painting Bill Clinton as a liar and a manipulator. Kathy Rumler replies, MacGyver takes it to another level because if you call him out on it, he will explain with a straight face that both statements are true. Now, we actually saw him do this when he was president. Bill Clinton, I mean, when he was president. But what this says to us is that these are two people that are talking about Bill Clinton being an extremely manipulative, disturbing individual. I'm very curious what Jeffrey Epstein's referring to when he was saying that they were talking about something that disturbed him. I also want you to keep in mind, this is 2016. This is many years after Bill Clinton allegedly had no contact with him. They just went on a trip to Africa together. They traveled a little bit together because it was convenient to ride in his plane. They don't really know each other. That's the line that was being said. So I want you to keep in mind, they were on the phone on January 22nd, 2016, talking about something that disturbed Jeffrey Epstein. So to me, that is true new information that we are gaining from these Epstein files. If we talk about the various bombshells in it, to me, this is a big one. Now, this email exchange is between Jeffrey Epstein and Landon Thomas Jr. Now, Jeffrey Epstein was really bothered by the accusations made by Virginia Giuffre. They caused a lot of problems for Prince Andrew, obviously, and they were causing a lot of problems for him personally. So understand, when he talks about this, he has every reason to say things that are not true. Let's read through these emails and we'll talk about their significance. So Jeffrey Epstein says, and you got to keep in mind, these are backwards, so the older ones are going to be on the bottom. Email reads Landon. There's a redacted name, which is likely Virginia Giuffre, considering the context of all of this, but the storyteller crafted much of it out of whole cloth. Part of her story is that she was at multiple orgies with Clinton, and specifically the minute details of a dinner had on the island with him. He sat on my left, came by black heli, flown by Ghislaine. Clinton was never, ever there. Never. It punches a hole in the Dershowitz Andrew allegation, making it all apparent that it was fantasy and delusional. Thoughts? Who should break the story? So you have to think about what the purpose of this email is. The purpose of this email is to say that Virginia Giuffre is lying and nothing she's saying is true. So by saying Clinton was never, ever there, never, that if they can prove those things, it would punch a hole in the Dershowitz and Andrew allegations. So making it apparent that it was all fantasy and delusional. So this is not him trying to express what the actual truth is. He is fully aware that people may at some point monitor these things, and he's trying to create what would be a story that would then all of a sudden make the Dershowitz and Andrew allegations go away. So Landon Thomas Jr. replies, let's have a chat. You do need to fight back somehow. Present evidence that she is lying and show the world that you are no longer that guy. You have made changes and that this is the past. There's some contradiction here. Now, I know this is not Jeffrey Epstein that wrote this, but it's kind of funny because he's basically saying, say that she's lying, but also show that you're not that guy and that you've made changes from being that person. So she can't both be lying and then have him be a different person than he was when he did these things. It just doesn't really make any sense. My sense is that it's TV type thing where you just talk honestly about this, present evidence that it's not true, and focus on what you've been doing for the past 5 years. Charlie Rose, you can't just sit there taking punches like this, especially when the British tabs are driving this. Maybe you can go on British TV. Call me anytime. So he is saying you need to fight back against this. Let's get you in front of cameras. Here's what the dialogue would be. Jeffrey Epstein is saying, this is what I could say. This would be the story. That doesn't make any of this true. So you can't be overly literal with someone who knows they potentially are being monitored, who when they have something really serious to say, they say it over the phone. He references that in other emails. All right, let's keep going. So here's an example of an interaction where he talks about not giving specific details by email. There are plenty of emails like this, but I just wanted to give this example. So Epstein messaged Landon Thomas Jr. and basically, after a long explanation of whether or not Al Gore had ever been to the island and so on and so forth, at the end, they talk about this and say phone only, because that means there are details he does not want to give over email. There is sensitive information, and he is aware of that. So anything that he puts in these emails, he is fully aware may be read by other people. So always keep that in mind when it comes to reading through all of these emails. Now we're going to look at a text exchange between Jeffrey Epstein and someone whose name has been redacted. So we don't know who this is. Label it G. That is most definitely not the name of the person. Their name has been redacted. It's just because these were text messages, the data gets a little bit funny, so don't worry about the labels. Anyway, so on December 2nd, 2018, the two of them were having some conversation about some sort of injury that the other person had. But then on December 3rd, this person reached out and said, it will all blow over. They're just trying to take down Trump and doing whatever they can to do that! Exclamation point. Jeffrey Epstein replied, yes, thanks. It's wild because I am the one able to take him down. So is he being grandiose, or does he actually have something that would be harmful to President Trump? That's what's unclear, because later on, we're going to get into an exchange with a congresswoman where he's actively trying to harm Trump. He's actually trying to get Trump taken down, basically. So it's unclear what this would possibly be, if this is just him being grandiose, because he is someone that sees himself as being in control. So when he says, I am the one able to take him down, that could just be that he's grandiose, that he believes that he's knows things that are that important. And as we'll see later, he continues to try to assert some kind of control into President Trump's future. So here's an email exchange between Jeffrey Epstein and what seems to be a pilot, although they redacted the name, so we don't know for sure who it is. But based on the context, that's what it seems like. Right here, Jeffrey Epstein essentially is writing out what the pilot should say. This is basically his draft of how he believes the pilot should handle all of these questions. I only met Jeffrey Epstein after I was adult, over 18. I was never ever his sex slave. Obviously a lurid chauvinistic categorization, which in my opinion could only have been made by some loser of a repressed male reporter. He was always kind, funny, generous to me. These fantasy fabrications made by a delusional thief. Charged with stealing from the burger place which she worked, though she claimed to be paid thousands of dollars in cash and held at the beck and call of the genius tycoon. I think that the genius tycoon is supposed to be referencing Trump, and I don't know if the fact that genius is misspelled is supposed to be ironic, or if it's just that, much like other areas, Jeffrey Epstein just doesn't spell very well. Her storytelling, had it been done while sleeping, would have been called dreaming, if awake hallucinations, but to the English press they are referred to as allegations. She claimed in the midst of detail her dinner with President Clinton on the Caribbean island, how he arrived by Black Heli, where he sat on Jeffrey's left, a 21st century tale of power, sex, money. The fact that this story is total make-believe, fabricated on purpose to gain tabloid attention, and easily refuted by readily available travel records of a former president, it defies belief that any person would take seriously such a preposterous story. Little different than her telling her father that she met the Queen. Whoops, he believed her, though her mother, at at a relevant time complained that she must have been engaging in Satan worship and asked that she be put in a drug room. Come on, I am currently a professional pilot with a spotless record. I have a checklist that I follow before every flight to verify things that are where they are supposed to be. Checking her story, which the press has refused to do, would serve the public well. In this case, human error is merely a euphemism for hijacking the truth. By the person whose name is redacted, they are now asking how my parents bought a building in town, implying it was all the money they got for selling me. Getting ugly. But this shows how Jeffrey Epstein manipulates. He's crafting a story, trying to make sure that he can manipulate people and make sure that they understand. This is how you have to talk about Prince Andrew. This is how you have to talk about President Clinton. You have to make this person, Virginia Giuffre, who made these accusations, seem ridiculous. No one would take her seriously. It's trying to get people to talk in those terms. So he wants to have some control over this. He's creating what people should say. So rather than just allowing this to play out honestly, this seems to be how he operates. Now, this is an email exchange between Kathy Rumler and Jeffrey Epstein. In this, Jeffrey Epstein emails Kathy Rumler with the title Steve Bannon. First, there's a link to an article about Michael Flynn. And then he says, which has to do with the Trump administration, obviously. And then he says, do you think Bill Clinton would like to join you, me, Ehud, and Steve? Could be very funny, all off the record. Now, just to give you some context of who he's referring to. So the meeting would be Jeffrey Epstein, Kathy Rumler, Ehud Barak, who was a former Israeli prime minister, and then Steve Bannon, who used to work with President Trump, although this was in 2018, could be very funny, all off the record. And they wanted to include Bill Clinton as well. So this was a real desire in 2018 to get together with Bill Clinton. He proposed that as though that was an actual possibility. This wasn't like it was somebody he didn't know. Once again, they were still talking in 2016. He may not trust Bill Clinton as much now, but he wants to get together with him. He wants to spend time with him. So Kathy Rumler replies, he might like to. His lawyer would advise him against it. And then a little smiley face. Are you feeling better today? So the kinship and closeness between Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Clinton is still there so much that even Kathy Rumler knows he would like to get together with them. So it does show that there was a real relationship, a real connection that lasted at least up until 2018. Now, here's an interaction between Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein. Now, this is following a bunch of questions that had been sent to Ghislaine Maxwell. It seems like Prince Andrew's freaking out a little bit because these questions are all about Virginia Giuffre. In that situation, Prince Andrew says, in reference to the previous questions that were sent, what? I don't know any of this. How are you responding? Jeffrey Epstein says, just got it 2 minutes ago. I asked lawyers to send a letter. Not sure. It is so salacious and ridiculous. I'm not sure how to respond. The only person she didn't have sex with was Elvis. Prince Andrew responds, please make sure that every statement or legal letter clearly states that I am not involved and I knew nothing and know nothing about any of these allegations. I can't take any more of this on my end. Now, we're really seeing their personalities come out here. Jeffrey Epstein basically framing things the same way he has previously about Virginia Giuffre, which, this is ridiculous. We got to talk about this as though it's ridiculous. He's going to put that in writing to make sure everybody understands it. And nobody should take these seriously. And that's what he hopes. He hopes that people can just brush their hands of it and go, this is so disgusting. The things are so salacious. No one's going to believe this. They're ridiculous. That's how we should approach it. And he's been very consistent with trying to state things in that way. Now, Prince Andrew, obviously, he seems extremely anxious. You can tell that just by reading this, particularly, I can't take any more of this on my end. But in this, he is telling him what to do. Right now, we have two very controlling people telling each other exactly what to do here. Jeffrey Epstein's trying to say, hey, talk about this like it's no big deal. That's essentially what he's hinting at this point. Whereas Prince Andrew was saying, you tell people that I had nothing to do with this. I know nothing. I'm not involved here. You cannot involve me with this. So it's this attempt to assert absolute control in this situation and command that he not be associated with this in any way. Obviously, it didn't work. And for anybody who's seen the BBC interview, we can see why he didn't want to have to talk about these things. In another email to Ghislaine Maxwell, Prince Andrew says, hey there, what's all this? I don't know anything about this. You must say so, please. This has nothing to do with me. I can't take any more of this. So the amount of stress, once again, that he was under at that point must have been tremendous. He must have been very, very anxious and scared about this, because that's how this reads. This reads like someone who is commanding that they insist that he had nothing to do with it, but he also sounds very, very scared. So his idea is to avoid. And that's frequently what we see with people that are anxious. When people get anxious, they avoid. And that was going to be his strategy. Rather than hit things head on, which he ultimately tried to do and it didn't go well, he was going to just try to avoid it, let everybody else handle it. You say nothing happened. You tell everybody I had nothing to do with this. I can't do any of this. Please leave me alone. So this is an exchange between Michael Wolff, the journalist, and Jeffrey Epstein. Now, he's basically asking how he can get to Trump, how he can talk to Trump. And Jeffrey Epstein is giving him advice, basically saying, that if you want to ask him questions and you don't want to get thrown out, here's how you have to approach it. Maybe you can ask why Bernie Nussbaum got Vince Foster's letter quickly. That's a Hillary problem. So in other words, and this would have been 2016 before Trump was elected. So focusing on Hillary, that's going to get him answering questions. He would smile, and then you can go ask his relationship with the electrician unions in Mar-a-Lago, and out you go. And then Jeffrey Epstein wrote more. Do you want to be provocative? Trump shuttle, Hawaiian Tropic contest, mortgage on Mar-a-Lago, revenue on golf courses, income. So all of these that would be embarrassing financial questions potentially, or the intent would be to ask him questions he doesn't want to have to answer about finances. Now, interestingly, that's what he's helping him focus on because he knows what is going to bother Trump. He's trying to help other people get to Trump. So I talked earlier about how he wants to harm Trump. This is how he's trying to do it. He's trying to do it in a backhanded way. And then Michael Wolff asks, what was the letter? Jeffrey Epstein replies, Nussbaum, White House counsel, Hillary doing naughties with Vince. So for anybody who doesn't know who Vince is referring to Vince Foster. He was White House counsel for Bill Clinton. And there have been a lot of conspiracy theories suggesting that the Clintons were in fact involved in his death because he was found shot. We're not going to get into all of that, but that's why he was suggesting that he bring that up, because that would be something that would go against Hillary that President Trump could talk about. But ultimately, that would just lead him into asking more difficult questions or more harmful questions. So it's very interesting to see the level of manipulation that Jeffrey Epstein's trying to engage in here. So now here's an email exchange between Mark Epstein and Jeffrey Epstein. Mark Epstein being Jeffrey Epstein's brother. He has addressed some of this publicly. We're going to talk about that, but let's get to reading it and then I'll explain. So Mark Epstein says, how are you doing? A while back, you mentioned that you were pre-diabetic. Has anything changed with that? What is your boy Donald up to now? Epstein replies, all good. Bannon with me. So I guess he's saying that he's not worried about the pre-diabetic stuff, but he didn't respond to the Donald question. Then Mark Epstein asks a couple of days later, ask him if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba. So what he means by this, he's saying, ask Steve Bannon if Putin has the photos of Trump engaging in some sort of salacious act with Bubba. Now most people assumed Bubba was Bill Clinton because people call Bill Clinton Bubba. Mark Epstein has said it's not. He also said that he was joking and that this was not being literal. The fact that Steve Bannon was with him, the fact that he's framing it this way, I don't think anybody's taking this literally. I know it spawned lots of memes, lots of viral content, but I don't take any of this other than two brothers joking around. And then Jeffrey Epstein replies, and I thought I had psoas, and that's a Yiddish word basically saying like a stress or a headache, or I thought I had problems. I think is in essence what it's saying. Then Mark Epstein replies, you and your boy Donnie can make a remake of the movie Get Hard, sent via tin can and string. Once again, this is just two brothers joking around. What that means for anybody who's curious, there was a movie called Get Hard where a convict taught somebody who was going to go to jail or who was going to go to prison how to prepare for it. So in other words, because Jeffrey Epstein has been to prison, he could teach Donald Trump how to get ready for prison. That's the implication right there. Now, on May 18th, 2011, Jeffrey Epstein sent an email to Ghislaine Maxwell. Do you have the photos from our Clinton trip to Africa? Now, that's not necessarily specifically meaningful, but it is interesting that he was looking for those at that time. There are little pieces of data that I want to put a pin in right now, because as the rest of the Epstein files come out, we might end up circling back to this. This may be meaningful in some way. It felt meaningful enough for me to at least think about this. But like I said, as more of these files come out, maybe we'll tie it back to something. And this is part of what can be so complicated with forensic work, is that we have to be able to tie everything together. You have to remember everything you've already read here so you can address it later. And like I said, this is 20,000 emails and texts and whatnot. We may have another 100,000. I have no idea how many are going to come out when the rest of the Epstein files are released. But we're not having the knowledge here. If I didn't read all of these, it would be much harder to understand contextually what matters when those later ones come out. So some of the things I talk about may not seem extremely relevant yet, but they might be later. So that's why I'm including so much of this information. Now we're going to look at an exchange between Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett and Jeffrey Epstein. This was actually during a House Oversight Committee hearing with Michael Cohen. So for those of you unfamiliar with Michael Cohen, he worked with Trump for a long time. Jeffrey Epstein is trying to provide additional information to Stacey Plaskett so they can ask him better questions, so they can ask questions that can get to Trump better, because this was about payments that Trump wasn't supposed to have made or something to that effect. But the goal here ultimately was to harm Trump. So once again, this goes back to the fact that they are at this point somewhat rivalrous. At this point, it doesn't seem that Jeffrey Epstein not only dislikes Trump, he's actively doing things to try to hurt Trump. But let's look through what some of the text messages say. Now, Plaskett is labeled as G. I don't really know why it labeled it that way, because I think it was sent through his text. So just understand the JEE thing, just ignore that. So he's providing some commentary, but also is commenting on her. So what privilege stands behind the non-release of college transcripts? Great outfit. You look great. She replies, thanks, with an exclamation point, which shows a warm relationship. These are two people that are using each other. Plaskett's using him to be able to get information, and he's using her to get a sense of control. And then he says, "Are you chewing?" She says, "Not anymore." He sends a smiley face. "Chewing the interior of my mouth, bad habit from middle school." It's interesting. She feels the need to legitimize her behavior to Jeffrey Epstein. And then he says, "Sweet." He's opened the door to questions who are the other henchmen at Trump org. She says, "Yep, very aware, waiting my turn." "How much longer for you?" he asks. "Hours, going to other meetings." "Thanks." Cohen brought up Rona, keeper of the secrets. "Rona? Quick, I'm up next." "Is that an acronym?" "That's his assistant." "Rona." She called out Roger is on line 1, corroborator. "Good work." Financial statement exhibit, wild. So he's really trying to coach her. And this gives him a sense of power. Like I said, this is someone who likes to be in power. And she's willing to work with someone who's totally despicable and not tell anybody about it, apparently, until now because it's come out. But she's been willing to do this to get what it is that she wants. To me, this is an absolutely wild exchange because it seems very friendly. It's not just, hey, give me this information and I'm going to use it. There's lots of chatter between them if you look earlier on. "You look great, thanks." All of those kinds of statements. And then Jeffrey Epstein also states the titles of each section are misleading. It talks about asset value, then related loans, and then loans payable. These are all tricks. Assets owned less than 100%, operating property. What were your takeaways? Thinking. But this goes to show he really, truly wanted to harm Trump. He was doing everything he could to try to help in this way. So it's interesting to see that there was a relationship where the Congresswoman was trying to use Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein was trying to use her because he wanted that sense of control right there. Now, interestingly, back in 2013, it looks like Hakeem Jeffries, Congressman Hakeem Jeffries' representatives were actually reaching out to Jeffrey Epstein to invite him to a dinner or to get to know him better. So even despite back in 2008 that he had been convicted of all of these things, everybody already knew everything about Jeffrey Epstein at that point. People were still reaching out to him to make these contacts. People would still want something from him. And to me, that's just fascinating. And I'm not sure that it even mattered which side of the political aisle they were on. He certainly seems to interact with a lot more Democrats. But I think that if anything, he would use anything that gives him leverage and power, I suspect he would have leaned into. So here's an email exchange between Jeffrey Epstein and Faith Cates. Faith Cates being an owner of a very large modeling agency. So Jeffrey Epstein, once again, bottom to top. Jeffrey Epstein says, "Hope today is fun for you." Faith Cates replies, "Fun? When are you back in New York City?" Epstein replies, "All next week." She replies, "Okay, Dylan will want to see you. I always want to see you. Where are you having Thanksgiving?" Epstein replies, "Ava." Faith Cates replies, "That means Glenn. Check out his red hair." Epstein replies, "Barry's color for holiday." Epstein replies, "Barry's color for holiday." Faith Cates says, "He's such a snooze. Who else is down there?" Epstein replies, "David Faisal, Hansen, Trump." Now, I've seen people say that he spent Thanksgiving with Trump, but that's not really how this reads. The way this reads is that Trump may have been in the same area, whether it's the same resort. I don't know what Ava is referring to, whether it's the same resort, same place, that they were in potentially the same social vicinity, but it didn't sound like they spent the holiday together. So when she asks who else is down there, those are the people that are down there, but there's no indication that they actually spent the day together. Epstein so far has been very explicit about who he's going to hang out with, who he's going to spend time with. So it seems unlikely to me that he actually spent Thanksgiving with Trump, although I have seen some people assert that because of this exchange, but I don't think that's what that means. Now, this is an interesting interaction between Jeffrey Epstein and Soon Yi. For those of you who don't know who Soon Yi is, that is Woody Allen's wife. Woody Allen and Jeffrey Epstein seem to be close friends. There have been a number of people that have talked about hanging out with Woody Allen and Jeffrey Epstein together, so I think they're very close. Soon Yi being his adopted daughter at one point, who he later married. Yes, that tells you everything you need to know about Woody Allen. Jeffrey Epstein sent her a link. Now, what this link was, it was Bill Clinton's CIA chief is going to be part of the Trump campaign. Now, there was no context given. Nothing specific was written. It was just a link to an article. Soon Yi replied, "Woody said it doesn't mean anything." Now, this means a couple of things. One, it sounds like Woody Allen is not someone to email, so he emailed his wife so that she could check with Woody Allen. And if you look, it was the next day that she replied. So this was something that she had to go take to him, talk to him about, and then reply the next day. Now, the fact that this is so cryptic, the fact that so little is said here, to me makes it stand out. So what does it mean that it doesn't mean anything? What would it mean if it did mean something? What would be the significance there? Once again, as the rest of the Epstein files come out, I'm hoping I can circle back to this because this is highly peculiar. This really stands out to me. And I think that there's a lot more to this, actually. I think this is one of the more interesting emails. But without a little bit more context, we can't draw too many conclusions. And my hope is that with the rest of the Epstein files dropping, this will have more context. We'll be able to bring it all together. All right, we'll go ahead and stop here. Hopefully this is helping you better understand some of the meaning. Everybody knows they have a connection that's referred to many times, but it seems like he actively does not like him. It seems like he's actively doing things to cause harm. He does not like President Trump. That seems very, very clear, at least not at this point in time. And with former President Clinton, like I talked about at the beginning, this is somebody who I think he feels a kinship to, but also recognizes is highly manipulative. And Jeffrey Epstein seems like someone who wants to be in control. He wants to have as much information as possible. So I'll be very curious when we have more Epstein files. They can give us more context, how this will all look when all is said and done. I will most definitely be reading as many of them as I can. I have no idea the volume that's going to come out or what will be released, but I suspect it's going to be much larger than what we've gotten so far. If you have any other thoughts about this, or if there's anything you think that I missed, or there's anything else you want me to analyze, please let me know.
You see? They're already trying to find a way out for him. It's not right, bro. They're already trying to find a way out. Oh, he was there, but he didn't like him. He was on the cover. He didn't like what he was doing. Where they're hugged up in video and photos and everything with all of them. So that's what they do. They try to give him an out. Bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Straight up. Straight bull. But yeah, that's that's the thing. Because they're in a certain circle, they're always gonna look out for each other. So we have to understand that. 9 times out of 10, when you smell something fishy going on, something fishy going on. Ultimately, but they're gonna try and dress it up and make it look a certain way, right? So we have to use our brains and be like, okay, it's chess, not checkers. So we have to kind of let things unfold, and they're gonna trip over their own self. So ultimately, it's just patience. What's done in the dark will soon come to the light.
Yep. Oh, to the light.
And then when they can't hide no more, or there's no other options, and things are getting exposed blatantly, front page, then they start to go against each other.
That's why they have to off Epstein, eh?
Yeah, trying to save themselves.
It's like the new drug kingpin of the world is from Canada, the snowboarder, Olympic snowboarder.
Yeah, I heard that one.
Gotta do a show on that for sure.
I heard that one.
Things are heating up in these streets.
Yeah, that's a fact. That is a fact. You see what happened to Praz?
Yep, Praz got 14 years.
Fuji's.
But did he get the 123 million?
That might be why he got 14 years, eh? Like, oh, this motherfucker got money. Let's lock him up.
Because if he got the money, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a fair exchange. That's what, 10 mil for every year he's locked up? And he's like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that time. What? Go on my back. Start working out, get fresh. Eat good. On the pen, you can buy your own food, right? Grocery. You can bring shit in for you. It's a whole industry in itself. What's the thing about it? It's a whole industry. And they don't care. As long as they can get somebody on something, they're good to go. But he was funneling money from Obama's presidency. And Obama was right there with Proswell. Laughing it up, cockeying and kikiing. Oh, look what happened. $14 years he gonna get. What if we got 100 bands, $100 million for 14 years is good money, man.
Man said, I'll take that.
Yeah. He's gonna do it on his back. He's already old. That's for the kids, man.
Yeah.
Well, did you see Ja Rule?
You got jumped?
Yeah. You beat him up. And this is Max B's homeboy. Max B just got out. Why would they beat up Ja Rule for Max B?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
50's homies was there, maybe. Not Max B.
To me,
came on.
Right. It doesn't make sense.
Max B just came home just for doing the Max. But yo, check this out. Jaro gets jumped, right? Let's see what the Goons got to say.
Megs B. I repeat, Ja Rule just got beat up by Megs B. They're backstage at the Barclays. Ja Rule, I guess he was supposed to feel in some type of way because Max, he trying to do his whole welcome home tour thing. It was a little tension, so he instantly got on there with Ja, beat him the fuck up, knocked him out. Everybody backstage like, Lord, they trying to pull out Ja Rule already on the floor sleep. It ain't nothing nobody could do. Ain't no going viral. This happened too fast. This was.
I'll run it back for you. Run that back. Bet five right back. I gotta start doing some videos because the lives long as hell, but it'd be dope though. I be liking the lives. You know?
All right, people. Hip hop is back on this nonsense. I wake up, go to my timeline, and boom, the internet saying Ja Rule got into a whole altercation in New York City. Bruh, Ja Rule just trying to enjoy life, maybe eat some calamari, and now the blog's talking about he was in a street brawl. So here's how it all starts. Blogger Tasha K hops online and she drops this bomb like, I'm hearing Ja Rule got jumped outside the restaurant, say less. And I'm being told it was pretty effing bad. Bro, the way she said it had the whole internet thinking Ja Rule got hit with a Mortal Kombat finishing move. People immediately went to Twitter like, yo, who got beef with Ja Rule in 2025? It's always the quiet days when the wildest stories drop. Next thing you know it, a little clip starts popping up, super blurry, with somebody's grandma's Android, but you can see some dudes in a heated situation. Folks swear Ja Rule was in the mix. But the streets definitely talking.
Ja Rule just beat up by Megs B. I repeat, Ja Rule just got beat up by Megs B. They're backstage at the Barclays. Ja Rule, I guess he was supposed to go on stage and he went to feeling some type of way because, you know, Max, he trying to do his whole welcome home tour thing. It was a little tension, so he instantly got on there with Ja. Beat him on my end. I want to top out and top back in. Everybody backstage like, Lord, they trying to pull out their phone, but Ja Rule already on the floor sleep. It ain't nothing nobody could do. Ain't no.
Here's the point.
Yo.
Yeah, you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so listen. Let's check to see if we can hear it again.
And now the blog's talking about he
Okay, now I hear it.
Starts. Blogger Tasha K hops online and she drops this bomb like, I'm hearing Ja Rule got jumped outside the restaurant, say less. And I'm being told it was pretty effing bad. Bro, the way she said it had the whole internet thinking Ja Rule got hit with a Mortal Kombat finishing move. People immediately went to Twitter like, yo, who got beef with Ja Rule in 2025? It's always the quiet days when the wildest stories drop. Next thing you know it, a little 10-second clip starts popping up, super blurry, filmed with somebody's grandma's Android, but you can see some dudes in a heated situation. Folks swear Ja Rule was in the mix, even though the camera quality looked like a potato. Some people saying he got pressed, others saying he got caught off guard. Some dudes saying it was a group trying to run him down. Nothing is crystal clear yet, but the streets definitely talking.
Ja Rule just got beat up by Megs B. I repeat, Ja Rule just got beat up by Megs B. They're backstage at the Barclays. Ja Rule, I guess he was supposed to go on stage and he went to feeling some type of way because, you know, Max, he trying to do his whole welcome home tour thing. It was a little tension, so he instantly got on there with Ja. Beat him the fuck, knocked him out. Everybody backstage like, Lord, they trying to pull out their phone, but Ja Rule already on the floor sleep. It ain't nothing nobody could do. Ain't no going viral. This happened too fast. This was penitentiary rules in effect. So boom, Ja Rule leave. He at the lounge. He still talking shit to his little comrade. Yeah, man, Max ain't no shit. I ain't worrying about them boys. I'm a whole legend out here. can't put their hands on me without retaliation. Next thing you know, them boys pop up outside the lounge. I'm talking about Max beating them people. They outside like, tell that boy Ja was there. Lord, they freeze up. They scared to come outside. It's a big commotion. The people threatening to call the police. And y'all know Max could go right back to jail. So everybody trying to do this shit incognito and inconspicuously. No one wants to get caught because Max B can be violated and sent back to prison. When my close sources was letting me hear the audio, I was like, damn. Be lying? Like y'all favorite celebrities will get online and deny a whole altercation just to make themselves look good. No, son, you got knocked out. It's okay. Sometimes get beat the up. It's all right to wear black eyes, get punched on, you know, long as you stand up like a man. But Ja Rule did not get jumped, so I don't know if they're gonna try to sue Tasha K again because she started putting out false news. But yeah, man, I know 50 Cent about to wake up and go crazy.
Now, let's be honest. Ja Rule is supposed to be coasting right now, doing nostalgia concerts, hosting events, collecting his royalties. That's where he should be. The last thing anybody expected was that Ja Rule gets jumped headline. But this is hip-hop. Nobody's off limits. Ja Rule ain't been in the news for fighting in years. So the minute rumors hit, everybody ran with it.
Nah, yo. Nah, jump Ja Rule. For real, though, Ja Rule out of all people, what has he done to y'all? Nah, bro, we ride it down.
Memes popped up immediately. Dudes saying, I know who did it. Dudes bringing old street beefs. The whole timeline chaotic for no reason.
Ja Rule was ambushed and attacked outside the Say Less restaurant in New York, and his condition is critical as he battles for his life.
What's going on? Because this say Ja Rule was ambushed and jumped this evening outside of restaurant Say Less in New York. Story developing, it was pretty bad. That's tough. Because who out there gonna jump my son Ja Riggedy like that? Where would I be without my baby? Well, obviously in a bad place, Ja Rule, because you gonna get jumped outside of Say Less like that? And you know what's crazy? I was just telling my mans that people gonna start getting caught lacking outside these restaurants. You know, Bonzi and all that. And then they caught my son Ja Riggedy Rule lacking outside of Say Less. Say less, gang. Because when bro get out the hospital, it's gonna be hell to pay, gang.
So here's what we know and here's what we don't know. What we do know is there was some kind of altercation rumored to be in NYC. People are saying this happened at the Barclays after the Brandy and Monica concert. Multiple bloggers claim that Ja Rule was involved. Social media clips somehow show something going down. What we don't know is the real location. Some people saying Say Less, some people are saying the Barclays. Whether Ja Rule got jumped or if it was just a confrontation. Who the other individuals are, what started it, and how bad it really was. It's one of those situations where these rumors move faster than the facts. And until witnesses or footage drop for real, everything is still a giant maybe. But look, man, the internet been going crazy over this. A possible fight, a possible jump, a possible random altercation. Nobody got the full story yet, but trust me, the second more footage leaks or somebody involved starts talking, I'm going to be right back here with the update. So hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think happened. Was it a fight, a setup, a misunderstanding, or is just 50 Cent putting out new propaganda? Let me know and keep it locked.
This is what a man possessed looks like. $100,000 on the line. Yeah, we getting ready. People's League, baby. Team Top Dog. We here to take it home. We ain't playing no games. It's going to be a lot of fun, but we ain't playing no games. We coming to get that 100 racks. Let's go. Rainbows all day. Let's go.
I'm coming. We got a good spot for you. I'm gonna say should have known better. I'm gonna sing my prison song. You gonna come out and roll with it.
Well, there you have it. Joe got jumped. Why did Ja Rule get jumped? Who wants to jump Ja Rule?
You think he really got jumped? Yeah, he got jumped, but
Yeah, somebody snuffed him from behind for sure. What do you think it was a head-on fade? And he got beat up?
I think there was a scuffle, but
I think a bunch of people just jumped on him and started punching him in the back of his head. Yo, you ain't nobody. Just like 6 dudes just start punching him in the back of his head.
Right.
And he's fighting them off. He's like, yo, who punched me? He's looking around. Another one?
Yep.
Man gets boxed in the head, like you don't know where it's coming from. Like 6 people punching him. 6 people. But another 50 cents. Goon said he takes responsibility, but I don't think it's true. You think that's true?
Oh, it could be a clout chase, you know. Could be a clout chase. He's like, yeah, put 50's name in the mix, keep him trending or whatever. But then it's a Max B thing too, so like, who knows? There's more. But did you see the response from Ja Rule? You didn't see the video response where he's there drinking a tea and laughing? He didn't say much, but he's just like, he was laughing at whatever I guess was going on the internet. And there was no signs of a scuffle on his face. But you never know. He caught a gut shot. Got a 1-2 low blows or 1 gut shot.
What's the numbers, T?
He the shooter. Patty Bell, what's up? I see you.
They claim that,
What's the numbers is adding up? It's a major decision. Subtract the cap from the facts and let you make the decision.
22 G's.
The mother channels keep your brain
sentenced to
you know the first blog you go for your latest urban news. What's the know? It ain't 100 if you ain't heard it from Pole Road. What's the numbers, Marv? You already know. It ain't 100 if you ain't heard it from Pole Road. If you like the content that What's the Numbers provide, First you hit the like button, then you gotta subscribe.
If you like the content, then what's enough to survive? First you hit the like button, then you gotta subscribe.
Once you hit the like button, then you gotta subscribe.
Yo, what's good? What's going on in the building? It's the Numbers TV. Yeah, Paul Rowe.
True.
Daddy Bill. What's good? Let me see who in the building, man. Dub B. First episode of it's members only though. I ain't gonna lie. Don't look too crazy. Ja went out. Ja showed his. He posted a picture. And Max said Max's song was playing behind like the background. You heard him. You heard his song playing. So Max could have had nothing to do with that shit. It's crazy how it came out Max B though, because a few people I've seen at least 3 people say that Max B knocked out Ja Rule or some shit. Yeah, I don't know if they was all working together. Put that narrative out there, man. Yeah, Jimmy next. Yeah, I don't know why that would come out like that. Nah, but it was Tasha K too. Like she put that shit out. And then I seen a few other people.
I don't think Max B could beat up Ja Rule, dog.
I don't know. The man's fresh out. Probably got some jailhouse strength right now. You know that jailhouse strength is different.
No, but that nigga came over with a gut.
Look, it's just one right here. Look at this one.
It look like he got stung by a bee. He ain't too wavy, man. Now he lumpy.
It's just one person.
Call that nigga Bumpy.
This ain't even Tasha K.
Lumpy Stumpy.
He ain't put Max in it, but he said. The video don't look like he got spanked too bad. He said he's hey Ja. Yeah, I know she's not credible. I'm saying she was putting that shit out. This is going crazy. Something happened though. I know y'all seen the video. Something happened. Something happened for sure. Ja Rule just did an interview with Carmelo. Niggas on the rail with him. Damn, this is in London. That ain't had nothing to do with Fifth. He in London. See what's good.
What's good?
Well, chilling.
Let me hang up my coat and get my shit together, man. Be right back.
Oh, maybe it was Joffrey Top out here.
Nah, you ain't here last night though when Zip was on live. Somebody called him and said the same thing. Max was
affiliates
and Ja some shit. That's why he was on live. Somebody called him before Tasha K and everything. That's what I'm saying. It was a few people. It wasn't just her. It was a few people. But regardless, even if it was a jumping, unless he got knocked out and woke up in 2.2 seconds, like it don't look like it was, you know what I'm saying? He probably got stalled. They probably popped it off on him. He probably, got hit. Got up out of there. Shit happens. And the ladies' man is G Unit. You know what I'm saying? They probably just popped it off of him. He got his bearings real quick. See y'all moving around. Them R&B shows 1 or 2 deep, 3 deep. And it's still outside. That's crazy though. If they put like, yo, that's crazy. Niggas sparking up the G Unit murder. I mean, not even G Unit, the Ja Rule G Unit beef again. In 2025 is crazy. Ja thought he had smooth sailing. He thought it was. Oh man, the rap game is crazy, man. Niggas popping off 25-year-old beef.
Sometimes the rap game remind me of the crack game, man.
Yep. Yep.
Shit crazy.
Yeah.
He said, nigga crashing out for fifth, only to be back on American 119 doing a bunch of nothing. Man, Fifth be doing a lot for them niggas, man.
We ain't gonna put that on Fifth. Fifth is in London.
I don't think Fifth. We're gonna get into it, man. Because I call like they try to spread that shit on the wave on EMG and shit. EMG had nothing to do with it, man. You know what I'm saying? I talk to niggas a day, man. Niggas sent me and Poe Roll an exclusive on Max verse, man.
Yeah, I heard it.
You know? So,
They try to pump that bad dope on Max.
Yeah, trying to pump that bad dope on Bigger Val, man. He was performing when this shit happened.
Yeah, you heard it.
I think Ja was there with Fat Joe. And see, you know, and the ladies' man is Monica. I don't know if he's her husband or her fiance, but that's Fifth partner. You know what I'm saying?
His partner.
That's Fifth partner on being meth, the Tycoon shit, and then you know he got some, you know, he and he Chris Brown manager too. You know what I'm saying? And the ladies man. That's the one where Fifth won the lawsuit with Tierra Marie. He used to fuck with Tierra Marie at one point in time too. So, you know, that's Fifth man and the ladies man. So, like, Jaffe and them was there on the strength of him, more than likely, you know what I'm saying? Because that's Fifth homie. And they were saying somebody ain't getting tickets no more, man. He banned from Tycoon and he banned from, but it's one of Fifth people's too.
So it's a lot going on, basically.
Yeah, but they try to put it on the wave, you know what I'm saying? Tasha K did that. She got bad dope. She pumping bad dope.
Oh, no. But Zip was live last night and somebody called him.
Yeah, I seen that.
And mentioned
Somebody called him and like, yo, come through because niggas putting hands and feet on Ja.
Did they say Max though, right? Because then
he said that's what the niggas said.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. You can't just say it was only Tasha K because it was somebody that was in real time.
Yeah, that was in real time. Somebody called him and then.
Yeah, so
but they just probably assuming they with Max, but they wasn't with Max. They was probably like they know people that you know, but they was probably assuming that they was with Max, but they weren't with Max. That's the ladies man people. That's Fifth people. You know, Jaffe the top tiger. Y'all know the top tiger.
Yeah, so you know that's what I'm saying. It was like
that's the big sleeves, my nigga.
Do that on Max, but he wasn't
in the building. You dig?
He wasn't jacking it though.
Who?
Max.
Nah, you see, he immediately responded. Don't put no lies on me. Max is on parole, my nigga. He ain't trying to get violated. That nigga just came home. He is on parole, bro.
That's
you know
what
what I'm saying?
Max B said he ain't do it, so we gonna leave it at that. He ain't do it. All right. It's a good one, you know. Shout out to everybody out there, man. Hope Max B come home to a big bag.
True.
And get his family out the gutter. And get his mind right, you know.
First things first.
That's what it's all about. Rehabilitation, restoration, A reinvention. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
You know my slogan. Keep it real to feel. Get how they feel. I'm out. Peace. Yeah, man.